Hi, hello, and welcome. This is the basic investment course. It's a series of courses actually, and it starts with the very basic so that a person who has never indulged or invested in any complicated investment like stocks, shares, mutual funds, and so on can actually start and learn how to go about doing it. We are going to only talk about long term investment, not trading. Trading of shares, trading of futures and options, all these are completely different topics and they are not covered here. So, this is for investing, not trading. All the techniques and tools that we discuss here are applicable to any stock market in the world, not just in India. And more importantly, they are applicable or can be applied to any commodity, not just shares of companies. They can be applied to gold, silver, platinum, oil, wheat, ragi, anything. The principles involved are exactly the same. The prices may vary, the stock exchange on which you operate may vary, but that doesn't matter. As long as you have access to the tools that are required to make the decision to invest. Also, we start with the rank basics that even the rank beginners will be able to start, understand, and slowly progress. Now, you may ask me why stocks? This is an important question. So, let me bring up the CPI chart of India and let's have a look at it. So, as I said, the CPI or the Consumer Price Index of India has been plotted by the IMF and various other international financial institutions. And this is the chart I could get from 1960 to 2020. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the later 2 years. But this is good enough for our purpose. As you can see from the chart, lot of variations take place, and each time a variation takes place, people start hollering, saying, "Oh, it's gone up, it's gone up, it's gone down, whatever." But really speaking, the average inflation in India has always been around the 7.5 to 8.5% mark. Yes, does it vary? Of course it does. Nothing goes in a straight line. But if you really look at it, you and I, from a long term perspective, need to budget to get a better return than the average inflation that we usually experience in India, in this case, or in any other country if you are doing this course from abroad, in your country. If we are able to keep our savings growing faster than inflation, then number one, our savings are working for us. Number two, we will be able to buy more in the future rather than less in the future. So that's the sole purpose of this chart. That the average inflation, 7.5 to 8.5, is probably what we should reckon with in India. Give or take a percentage point, let's not quibble about it. So, in my recommendation, I say that as long as your investments are growing at, say, 15%, whatever you are earning and saving today with your hard work will actually buy you more in the future rather than less than it is buying you today. That is the key. that I wanted to uh, explain in this chart.
In order to illustrate the tools and techniques that we will learn in the various lessons and courses under this basic investment course, I will be using the example of shares, but it is not restricted to shares as I told you already. You can use the same tools and techniques on any charts of any item or commodity that you like on any stock exchange. So we will be looking at stocks and shares because they are simple and easy to understand. We will start with telling the beginners where to start. How do I know what I should invest, how much I should invest, and so on and so forth. There are very basic fundamentals that often even experienced investors overlook, especially those with plenty of money that they don't have to bother about the day-to-day annual expected expenses. Even those, it's worthwhile doing this exercise. Now, this is a workshop and not a lecture alone. I will explain tools and techniques and various concepts, and then you will have work to do between sessions or between lessons. So, if you want to proceed to the next lesson in this series of courses, you will have to have completed the previous lesson successfully. And we are not talking about lectures, as I said. We'll have lots of assignments, quizzes that you will need to complete successfully to go on to the next lesson. Of course, you can do this at your own pace, at your own convenient time, and whenever you get the spare time to really focus and concentrate on learning these new tools and techniques. And then finally, before we start off, there are 3 levels in this series of courses. One is the beginner level, the second is the intermediate level. That means people have been doing some investments in shares and mutual funds and so on, in a random, or shall I say occasional basis. And then there is the expert, the person who has actually been operating in the stock markets or any other market, as I said, but would like to refresh some very fundamental requirements. That's why it's called the basic investment course. So without much ado, let's get started.